Today, a split verdict in the latest Harvey Weinstein trial.
Jurors finding the former movie mogul guilty of one count of criminal sex act, but clearing him on the second count. As for the charge of third-degree rape, jurors could not reach a verdict. The judge told them to keep deliberating, but ended the day early. Lisa Rozner has the latest tonight outside of Manhattan Criminal Court. And Lisa, a dramatic day in the courtroom.
Jessica and Christine, certainly a dramatic day, but it ended with us hearing from at least two of the witnesses in this case. The attorney for Kaya Sokolow saying this is a win for all women and survivors everywhere. Even though Weinstein was not found guilty on her count, she said her truth was heard and her testimony helped bring down a man who thought he was untouchable. Nearly 20 years ago, in 2006, Kaya Sokolow was a 19-year-old model and testified Harvey Weinstein forcibly performed oral sex on her. The jury did not find Weinstein guilty beyond a reasonable doubt on that count of criminal sexual act.
I knew how hard it is to prove reasonable doubt for a crime that happened almost 20 years ago. I made sure Kaya knew it too, and she still stood in her truth. And history is going to remember her for that.
I truly hope from the bottom of my heart that standing here right now will give courage to others to speak up, to don't suffer in silence. Because suffering and living with a trauma like this without sharing it with other people is like cancer. It can eat you alive.
The jury did find Weinstein guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of forcibly performing oral sex, also in 2006, on production assistant Miriam Haley.
The real hero of this case is Mimi Haley, because he was convicted not once but twice based on her testimony.
The defense set a very disruptive and chaotic tone from the very beginning of this trial, which I suppose was meant to distract the jury from undeniable facts. And I'm so grateful that they saw through the nonsense and the antics.
The jury will continue deliberations Thursday on the count of rape that allegedly occurred in 2013 on accuser Jessica Mann, who said in part in a statement, Harvey hides behind PR firms, lawyers, spy agencies contracted to intimidate. I knew this would be hard because society is still evolving and understanding trauma. I didn't speak up to ruin his life. He did that. I spoke because mine matters.
This is really rare. I will say that. It's not a situation where they're finding him guilty of a lesser included charge or one charge and not a higher charge. This is just a different decision with respect to each of three women.
Before the partial verdict was read, juror number one asked to speak with the judge and attorneys privately about deliberation drama over the rape count. According to a transcript, he said, somebody talked to me, oh, we will see you outside because I got my decision. I say, no, that's my personal decision. You don't have to change me. And we have Natalie Duddridge here with us, who was inside the courtroom all day. Before we go to her, I just want to mention we spoke to Harvey Weinstein's publicist, who said this is a win for him, too, because he beat the toughest charge against him. So, Natalie, tell us, what was it like inside the courtroom today?
Well, as we just heard from your reporting, Lisa, it was dialed all the way up today. You just ended your report with that juror talking about how he was threatened. Somebody suggested to meet him outside. Well, that prompted defense attorney Arthur Idella to raise his hand and say, you know, this should be a mistrial. He said that juror should file a complaint with the NYPD. And then at this point, Harvey Weinstein actually raises his hand, and I will read you a quote. He says, despite all this fighting between attorneys, he said, this isn't fair. This isn't right. I'm the one on trial. This is my life. Now, despite all that, the judge called jurors back in. They came up with this final verdict. Everyone left for lunch. Jurors continued deliberating. And one more surprise, we went back upstairs, and that juror foreperson actually stayed behind and said there was another threat that he was told someone will catch him. At this point, the judge asked if he feels safe going back tomorrow. He said he does feel safe going back tomorrow, but instead of going to the jury room, he will meet a court officer. So absolutely a wild day, and it's not over yet, Lisa.
All right, well, we'll be back here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Back to you guys.
All right, Natalie, Lisa, thank you both for your reporting, and do stay with us for continuing coverage of the retrial of Harvey Weinstein. We'll be back in court tomorrow and bring you the remaining verdict when it comes down on air and streaming on our streaming channel, WCBS News New York.